All right. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Just the Slip. This week, I have a special guest. We have Frank. So, Frank, quick little introduction. Just tell the people who you are, what you do, and then we'll get into some other stuff. Talk about some physical media, some horror. But yeah.
Yeah, can always talk about horror. My name is Frank, and I just started a YouTube channel, Frank's Media and Reviews, almost 3 months ago. It's like the middle of January, and it's been a great experience so far. It's been wonderful connecting with other crazy collectors like myself, and just talking physical media with people. So I love it.
Cool. Yep, I've enjoyed a lot of your stuff. So does a lot of very specific stuff, showing off new stuff, old stuff. So his link will be in the description below. So if you want to check out his stuff, definitely do that. Go over there, like and subscribe to his channel. And we're gonna get into it. So hopefully this will be like a reoccurring thing. We're gonna have different people on the show and talk about some physical media, talk about some upcoming releases, what we're watching, what we're looking forward to. So we're gonna start out with how we normally do this with kind of anything that I've seen, upcoming stuff. So I did see the first Omen. Probably will talk about that
Oh,
eventually.
I'm
Um,
seeing that tonight.
okay, we'll talk
Yeah, yeah,
about
yeah.
that. We'll talk about that next time then.
Okay.
See what you think. I really enjoyed it. It's very cool. Um, and then I talked about Late Night with the Devil the last time. I think on the
Okay.
show or the first episode. I thought it was okay. That's one of those things I know
Really?
people have
Oh.
like commented on that. Like I liked it. I'm very specific with stuff like that. I don't know that I really like the aesthetic of that movie, like the talk
What?
show thing. I think it's
Oh.
cool, but it's for me, it's like it's not weird enough. It was like very like for what it is, it's cool, and it's like, but it's like very on the nose. But I'm like,
Uh-huh.
I think I've watched bad movies for so long that that's what I like now. So
That's your
if
preferred choice.
that's I just want it to be trashy and no budget. So
Yeah.
good acting and high
Oh.
budgets just don't do it for me anymore.
I really liked it.
It's good. It's very well acted. Like, it's very well
Yeah.
acted. I just think and it like, I just like because it's the same, it's kind of like the same motif throughout the movie, like, I like that, but I don't know, it's something I'm not really a talk show fan, so it's like, kind of the whole premise of the thing, I'm like, "This is cool. I kinda get it."
I
It kinda wore on me throughout the movie. I liked it.
really
I didn't
dude.
love it.
So I what I really liked about the film is not only the aesthetic, the 70s vibe, the talk
Mm,
show vibe, and everything else like that. I personally liked how, because I made a review of
mhm,
Immaculate and the Late Night with the Devil
mhm.
video, but I really liked how they kind of set up the story of for those who have seen it. It talks about like uh, Jake, I think is the host's name, about why he's fought so hard to get to that top viewership, and try to
Yeah,
beat Johnny Carson, and then of course it talks about his relationship with his wife, and then what happens to her. And I thought that was for me, I thought it was a good strong start to the movie, just because you get at least attached to that character, and then of course what he does to try to get over the hump with Johnny
yeah,
Carson. I liked how I really like the behind the scenes aspect. And
yeah,
then I don't know if you mentioned it in yours, but like the shifting, the aspect ratio.
yeah.
Uh, there that was I like those subtle changes in that. And then of course the ending is bonkers,
It is. It is.
which I know you're probably like, yeah, baby.
Yeah, I do wanna watch it again, so I'm probably gonna watch it when it comes to Shudder
It's on the
again.
19th.
Yeah, so I probably will
Yeah.
watch it and kind of see. I think I went in. I think it's one of those times when you have expectations and you like, and everybody's been kind of talking about it, and not
Mhm.
that it's a hype, but just kind of like people talking about what it is. And then I was
Yeah.
like, it's not really what I not. It's not that I what I expected. It's not really what I wanted out of it. Like I think
Okay.
it's great. I think I just went in with like, this is kind of what I want out of this movie,
Yeah.
and so I'm like somehow holding a grudge against this movie for not being what I want it to be.
Mhm.
And it's like not as weird as I wanted it to be. It's very like straightforward. Like it is weird and like stuff like that. But I'm like, no, I wanted this to be like the ending. I want that the whole movie. I just wanted it to be weird.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and it's like slightly weird, but it's like a very like I I say this very lovingly. It's like very like mainstream weird. Like it's not a like when I think about horror being weird, that's not
Mhm.
it. And so I wanted it to go like more off the rails than it does, um, faster than it does. It's kind of like that's the end of the movie. I'm not really a fan of like movies that it's kind of like one thing and then the ending is like very different than the movie. Where it's like it kind of contextualizes a lot of stuff where you're like, yeah, I just wanted the movie to be that though. It's like this
Yeah.
long form, and then it's like at the very end, it's like, no, the whole movie is not that. It's this one other thing. Like it's very hard to talk about without talking about the end of this movie. But at some point, maybe we'll talk about it. like,
Yeah.
once
I
it
was
comes to
gonna
Shutter, I think we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Once everybody's had a chance to actually watch it, maybe we
Yeah.
can revisit. If you're back on here, we will real talk about it. And I'll have watched it again, so maybe I can watch it with
Okay.
new eyes. But
Okay, yeah, yeah. Did you see Immaculate yet?
I haven't seen Immaculate.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I think so far, at least for me, the 2024 horror movies are better than last year. At least
Well,
it's a
yeah,
better
last year
start.
sucked.
Yeah,
So
last year was
last year
terrible.
was a garbage year.
2022 was very good.
Yeah, yeah, I was and that is funny enough, that's why I got out of, like, for people that have watched me for a long time, that's why I got out of reviewing new horror movies, was 2023. It broke me. Like, shit was just so bad, and I was like, "I don't care about any of this at all." Like,
That's
this and so it's been a weird shift where it's like, of course, now that I'm not doing it, everything is
yeah,
coming out this year and it's
of
good.
course. Yeah,
Plus,
yeah,
it was
yeah.
more like for me personally, it was more like the turnaround time where it's like, okay, if I'm going to be reviewing new movies, it's kind of like I got to go see it like on the preview night. So I'm doing it on Thursday. So I'm working all day, going to see it that night, turning around, coming home, like filming and editing and getting everything out ready for it to be out
Yeah.
Friday.
The
And that
grind
is
is
like
real.
there's a grind. So yeah, like people that do this for a living. Like yeah, it's easy. You just go see
Yeah.
it. You don't got to worry about anything. But like people that work, it's like it's a lot of work to do that. Like,
Mhm.
turn around and then be like, "Oh, yeah, nobody cares about this movie," or the movie's bad. So there was more time, especially last year, there's more times than not that the movies were garbage,
Mhm.
but not even where I hated them. I think last year was very much a year of, like, neutrality for me where I was like, "Okay, this isn't good, but it's also not terrible." It's just kinda,
Mhm.
like, fine. There were a lot of fine movies last year in horror, and so it's like, I can't even get up in arms about them and be, like, super mad but I also am not like jumping for joy because the movies are really good. So, I think that's kind of where it was. I was like, ah, man. And that kind of got me going back to like watching older stuff and kind of like re getting into that. And then because I think there's still a lot of stuff that a lot of people haven't seen. So it's more like, and I'll talk about that too, even when I talked about older films. I'm like, hey, if you like this movie, you
Mhm.
probably will like this movie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, um, so I think it's cool and I think it's interesting. Horror is very like cyclical. It's like comes and goes. And so it's like you have these great years and then not great years and then it's weird. Like the whole studio system is kind of weird and broken right now anyway. So it's like it's weird that we have like Godzilla, Monkey Man, and like the first Omen all in theaters, which is a great thing. That's cool.
Yeah.
Like, but it's just like it's just wild. Like it's just like we are now putting money into stuff. It's also weird too. Like we go through our years of like, hey, it's like Italian horror time, but not really like that style. Just like we're gonna have a lot of church-based horror movies or like nun-based horror movies. And so it's like you have the first Omen and then you have Immaculate weeks apart. It's
Yeah,
like
and that's kind of funny.
everybody's like, yeah, we need to do this at this time. And so it's like, you can tell in every horror year, you're going to get like either a bunch of slashers, a bunch of like church related horror, or it's going to be something weird and wild.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. I think it's an interesting, I'm curious to see where it goes because these movies, the weird thing is these movies have kind of come out of nowhere, which is strange. Like usually we can kind of know like leading up to like especially last year like we knew pretty much everything that was going to come out. There's a few
Mhm.
like streaming things that were kind of surprises, but as far as like the big studio movies like we knew what was coming out whereas this year I feel like some of the stuff I'm like I didn't even know this was coming out. And we follow
Yeah,
a lot of this.
uh,
So like even the first Omen I knew was coming out, but nobody was paying attention because they're like that's
Cuckoo,
going to be
um,
garbage.
Cuckoo is one of the ones that, seems pretty interesting. That's done by, Neon,
Yeah.
and so, that one seems pretty good. Um,
What's
yeah,
that? Abigail's coming out. I saw people like
Abigail, I
them.
think next month.
Yeah.
Strangers, I think all 3 are coming out this year. It's something
I
really
haven't
weird. which
Rennie
usually isn't a
Harlan
good
making
case.
Rennie Harlan
A
making
good
movies
thing.
now is very
Yeah.
weird, especially like The Strangers. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. Like I saw some people talking about coming out of the festival that saw Abigail that they really liked it. My
Oh,
problem
okay.
is that they were because it's radio silence and people are like,
Mm,
oh, I think somebody was
Scream
like, oh,
and
I really
yeah.
align with like their sensibilities, and I'm like, what sensibilities are we talking about? Because Scream 6 sucks. Like they've made one movie. Like I know they made some before that, but like Scream 6 sucks. Like there's no ifs or buts about it. That's a terrible Scream movie. It's my
Yeah.
least favorite Scream movie of all of them. Like I am so happy that they are not making the seventh one.
No,
Regardless of what
no.
happens, like,
Well, Nev Campbell got signed, and
well, no, I know that. I'm saying I'm glad
oh,
that
okay,
Radio
okay.
Silence is not
Oh,
making that
gotcha,
movie
gotcha,
though.
gotcha.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
because I hated it, and I was like, well, I don't even care about the seventh one at all because the killers in that movie were the dumbest thing. At
the
least the
worst.
third one, like, had it's not great, but like you're like, okay, well, that's her brother in some way. At least it's tied into something. This is just two random fucking people that you're just like, yeah, I don't remember who those people are. So you brought Hayden Panettiere back for all of that, and I just feel like it was such a waste of a movie. And then nobody died. Everybody's
I was gonna mention
alive.
that. Yeah, yeah,
Fucking
yeah.
dumb.
They couldn't
Like
even bring kill a character.
all those characters are terrible. I'm sorry. Like and then like how would you do it anyway? Like I know there's a lot of shit going on with Melissa, but like she's a terrible actress anyway. So like I think she's like a wooden wall. Like I don't know why people are just like, oh, she's hot. She's a terrible actress though. Like Jen Ortega's great, but I'd rather her go off and do other things. But it's like I don't know what they're gonna do. Maybe we'll have a conversation when Scream 7 comes out, whenever that is, because I don't know what the fuck they're gonna do. It's basically gonna be a new movie. None of
Yeah,
those people are gonna be in that movie, and those other kids suck too. So I don't know.
the
I was
core
very
four.
Scream 5 was a good balance, I think, of like the old and the new, and you're like, okay, cool. Like
Mhm.
killing Dewey was probably not a great decision though. Like, because Gail's still alive. Like Gail needs to die. So
Yeah, I thought
I
that
don't
would
know.
happen in the last one. So,
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like they should have killed one off each one. Like they should have had, but I think Nev not being there was weird because I think you would need Nev there if you're going to kill Gale
mhm,
because
mhm.
there's an impact there with like Nev being there and Dewey dying and then Nev being there and then Gale dying in the next one. I think it could set a precedent and then you could have Nev die in the last one if you really wanted to be impactful. Like she's got to die. Like
At some point.
like she's the greatest final girl ever, but like she has to die. Like she's got to die at some point. Like for it to have the impact, because if she's just gonna have her like ride into the sunset moment, she's already had that. So it's
You
weird
think
for her to have it again. Like
you think Nev Campbell's the greatest final girl ever?
hands down, yeah. She is
Oh,
like she is hands down
no.
because like
No way.
she has actually done shit. She's not just escaped. She's hands down like the most badass because she's actually dealing with this shit years later. And even when she comes back, she's just like, yeah, fuck these people. I'm tired of this. I don't know what you guys have started again. Fuck you. Look at the fourth one. Even she's like done with that shit. She just deals with her. She's like, okay,
Yeah,
like I'm not doing this shit anymore. Like,
okay. So it's
so like
longevity a
yeah, it's
little bit
like
with
she
you.
and it's
Okay,
not
alright.
like the same, like she because most of those other final girls there, it's in one movie and they've just escaped narrowly. It's not that they've done it. Like, even if you look at like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like she survives out of sheer fucking luck. Most of those people are surviving out of like sheer luck, or it's so absurd that they survived that it's not believable. Like Nev
Mhm,
Campbell surviving is not that unbelievable because it is like a mixture of her and like luck. It's like her ability because she knows all these people and like she like doesn't give a shit because she's like, okay, I could die, but I'm just gonna like fuck the fuck up and like deal with the situation that I've got at hand. And I don't care about shooting somebody that I know. Cause like even with Skeet, she's like, I'll shoot his ass. I don't care. Like I'll kill him. She has no problem killing people. She's not just trying to get away. She's like, I'm going to kill these people and then I'm gonna get away. Like even in the fifth one, she's just like, okay, let's go inside. Let's kill these people. Like I'm
mhm.
done. Like, so I think it's just like she has an ability that she's like, I've gotten out of this. So when you pull me back in, I'm just going to deal with it and then go back. Like, so I think she's interesting because and I also feel like she's the most consistent character that has been brought back. Like she is Sydney throughout every one of those movies. Like
Mhm.
she feels like Sydney. So I think that's why people like her so much is that like she grounds that franchise, but like she's not like super dramatic. she kind of always comes back begrudgingly. It's not this thing she doesn't want like the spotlight. She's just like, whereas Gail is the more annoying one. Like Gail would, if she was the final girl, like she's surviving out of dumb luck. She's really the, she's
Especially in
really
the
the,
last one. Yeah.
yeah, she's really like the trope. Like I've always found that interesting where it's like she's more the trope of the final girl where she kind of gets
Hmm.
away narrowly each time, but it has nothing to do with her ability. Like, whereas like Nev is always getting away because of her ability to actually get away, but she always does get hurt. It's one of those things like you can see more like real survivability like in her character because she does get
Hmm.
hurt a lot and she
Hmm.
almost dies a lot. But it's like you can be like, it's believable that she might get away because at this point she's just pissed. Like you could be like, okay, I'm tired of this. Like even Scream 2, like you can see where it's like, so Gamanoid, even Scream 4, when she's like in the hospital, like she's like, okay, yeah, we're just gonna kill this bitch. Like we're done. Like, so I
Yeah.
think she's interesting. I mean, who do you think it would be? Who's yours then?
Well, my personal favorite
Mm,
would be like Mia from Evil Dead 2013. I really like Ripley. I mean that character. Those would be mine.
depends
But
on which movie we're talking about with Ripley, because if we're talking about Alien, then yeah. Uh,
Aliens,
I hate that.
she's good.
I don't like that movie.
Oh my gosh. I just
We
yeah,
we we
rewatched it,
talked
man.
about, yeah, but we talk about this, like, it's one thing I said when I was talking about those movies. I It's like Terminator. Like, I love Terminator. I could care less about Terminator 2. Like, it's a great movie, but I'm way more of a fan of, like,
What?
Terminator
Yeah, I mean,
than
I
Terminator 2.
like Alien more than Aliens because I
Yeah.
like the horror aspect. Like it's much scarier film.
Oh,
But
yeah.
like
I just don't like James
Aliens,
Cameron.
I
That's it.
I love the action. Oh man,
Mhm.
I just watched The Abyss.
Well, The
My
Abyss is
wife
great.
my wife hated The Abyss.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude, she was pissed. And I we watched the special edition or
Mhm. The
director's
extended cut,
edition.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's much better than the theatrical
Yeah, if she watched
version.
that one and she
Oh,
didn't watch the,
that's
make her
that's
watch
the
the
one we
theatrical
watched.
one, then she'll watch
Yeah.
it. You're like, "Oh, that's a masterpiece."
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, man. I was like, dang,
Yeah,
mom.
I don't know. I've never been I don't know, like I think it's the same with Avatar. It's like I mean, you could get into all his Avatar crap, but like I don't know. I mean, I think his stuff is fine. Like but it's never been like my favorite of
Mhm.
like action movies. I think cuz it's like he's always had he's always had a template, and I don't think people give the other directors enough credit to be like, yeah, you just came into a world and did the thing slightly better, but also dramatically changed what came before it.
Mm.
Aliens is a very different movie than Alien.
Mhm, mhm,
So it's like, cool, yeah, you came and made this like very like 70s sci-fi horror, like, atmospheric movie into a big bombastic action movie. So it's like you kind of ruined for me what Alien is. Like what I would want, like now the new one, like Romulus fucking looks like Alien. Like that new one, the Fede Alvarez one, like that
mhm,
one looks
mhm.
incredible. Like
Yeah.
that's
Is
what
that
I
coming
want.
out this year or is it
Yeah.
next year?
That's
Okay.
this year.
Yeah.
Like I'm down for that because I love the aesthetic of the original Alien. But just
Y
making it like big and bombastic, I have never like Terminator 2 is that. It's you take the Terminator, which is like a very small, like very simple movie, and
Mhm,
then you make it Terminator 2. Like it's just like everything he just ratchets everything up because he's like, oh no, I'm just gonna make it like all action oriented, which is cool. But I think for me, it's like started universes that I'm like, he's playing in these playgrounds and then kind of like sets it up, and then people copy that as
mhm,
opposed to like the roots of it. Cause like, oh,
mhm,
everybody likes Terminator 2. So then every Terminator movie after that just has to be these big bombastic things as opposed to being like very like small human stories. Like um Alien, I mean, Alien is a totally different story. That franchise is mostly garbage, but like I mean I still like Aliens over the other ones. I
mhm.
mean, so I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I know that's like not a popular opinion to not like those movies, but it's why I didn't buy it. Like, because I'm like, Aliens I'll watch, but it's like I wasn't like chomping at the bit to like have that movie, especially when I knew it was like
Yeah.
not in, and I have that collection.
I just had a
Yeah.
yeah, I just got that just to oh,
So
yes.
we can stop talking about my hate for James Cameron, but Those
This
Avatar
video is
movies.
sponsored by
James Cameron. I don't know, man. It's like that time, like, God, I don't know. Anyway, I love The Abyss. I think it's a great movie. It's very slow though, so I get it.
Yeah.
If you're not into like underwater, like exploration and stuff like that, and weird alien water things, then yeah, it's probably weird. Like,
Well, the day
um,
before we saw Underwater with Kristen Stewart.
okay,
And then I told her that we should watch Leviathan next.
that's a
Because
bad movie.
whoa, my God, Chris.
The Abyss is a far better movie than The
Oh,
Leviathan.
I love, but it's part of you. You love
Oh, I
cheesy
do.
ass
Like, no, but
movies,
I'm just saying,
but
like,
like Leviathan is, oh, it's
it's
so
a
good.
bad movie objectively. It's a
I
great.
love
It's
Leviathan.
like
Oh my
it's like
goodness,
the
man.
core. The core is a bad movie, but I love the core.
I love natural disaster films.
Yeah, so do
So
I.
yeah, yeah,
Me and Ronald Emmerich can go have like lunch together and just be
yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Are you making a Moonfall 2? Because I'll watch that."
Yeah. That was garbage. Yeah.
But that audio is so good.
I know, yeah, good Dolby Atmos.
That's the
Uh,
best Dolby Atmos.
the best. Oh, I don't know if it's the best,
It's
but
the
it's
best.
very good. No,
The
I
end of
just,
that movie when all of
oh,
that stuff is breaking apart and
yeah.
flying through those sound channels, it is incredible.
Well, and the timing of this video, I just did a video, best Dolby Atmos,
Mhm.
of my opinion, and that actually Moonfall. I briefly talked about it,
Yeah.
but Gravity, man, oh my God, like
That's a garbage movie, though.
it's
I'm not gonna
the
sit there.
Dolby Atmos is so damn good, dude.
Yeah, I hate that
I
movie.
oh,
That was an
it's
annoying time when that
so
movie came out, and people
good.
were like, "It's amazing," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's real dumb." Like, it's such a boring movie. It does have a good atmos, though. It's a beautiful movie. Like, it's just, I don't know. I don't like that movie. I have very hot takes, I think, on movies. This is why I don't talk about regular movies, Frank. So I don't talk about regular movies. It would never go over well. I would never be a great reviewer of movies because I would either love everything because, like, people that are like, "Oh, I hated this." I'm like, "All right, well, you haven't seen a lot of bad movies then, because I've seen a lot of bad movies." So, like, my bar for bad movies is probably lower than most people. So when a movie is, like, somewhat competent, I'm like, "Ah, it's fine," you know?
Yeah, we'll be the new Siskel and Ebert.
Yeah, it's fine, you know? We could be, because 'cause you're gonna be like, "The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is terrible," and
Uh,
he's gonna be like, "Nah, it's pretty good." Like, is that a hot take that I don't think The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is that good either? Like,
I
it's a great movie for its time, but it's fucking boring and nothing happens, and,
I don't think it's boring, but I think the
Texas Chainsaw Massacre
character.
2 is way better. So,
Mm,
yes,
I
that
don't
I
know
told
about
you I liked
that.
weird. If you know me, then that makes sense. Like,
Dennis Hopper makes that fucking
yeah.
movie. Oh, he is amazing in that movie.
I
Oh,
mean, the
he's
fact that
amazing in
Toby Hooper
everything.
made both of those movies, it's
Dude,
wild.
yeah, I know we're gonna talk about. I'm just bringing it up anyway because I just am. But Dennis Hopper and this crappy movie, Super Mario Brothers. Oh
I
my
love
goodness,
that
man,
we're in a place that the dumbest movies are getting, like, these cool additions. Like, I
dude.
talked about last week on the
Oh
podcast that I picked up Spider Labyrinth came out, which is a
yeah, you.
great bad movie. It's so good. Like, Severin does great work anyway. I'm glad you're collecting them now. You should go back because Severin does fantastic work. They do very weird movies. I think of another one that's I'm going to talk about eventually, probably in another series, but it's called Midnight or Backyard Massacre. It's a very weird movie. It's got two titles, so because it came out in America different, but
Oh, okay, okay.
yeah, I was thinking about that one. There's another one that has Peter Cushing in it called Asylum, where it's like this anthology movie with Peter Cushing, like in a hospital. It's
Hmm.
also very good. So yeah, if you want to talk about weird movies, we can talk about weird movies. But
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
I think it's like like this. I brought it just for you. Look at this. I want to show you this. There
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. That's
Like
yeah.
this still, it's crazy. This still has the sticker on it. It's brand new.
For the
Never
people.
been opened. Look at that thing.
Yeah, I was
Beautiful.
gonna bring this up because he's a big fan of it, and I think this movie's trash. But
I mean, it's no
it's
Pumpkinhead. If you want to talk
the
about creature movies, like Pumpkinhead
uh,
is fantastic.
I love
Like
Pumpkinhead.
that 4K was so good.
Yeah.
That was one of the
I
best 4Ks last year.
Oh my
So
god,
good.
we agreed. That was
We agreed
amazing.
on something. Um,
In the show.
so moving on from that, I picked up, since we're going to talk about new releases, I got this. Also, let's talk about this for a
Oh,
second.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, all right.
Why the
I got it.
fuck is this $35?
Yeah, Lionsgate.
Like, I don't know if this is a Walmart thing or a Lionsgate thing, but if these are gonna go from like the 22, $23 they were to $35, like,
I don't think so. Yeah, because I mean, obviously, I got the same thing for the people who,
but it's like, that's crazy. Like, they've got to fix that because that is like, it's fine, but these are not like new movies are not even $35. We're talking about like boutique level prices for shit that's coming from a major studio and
yeah.
Walmart. Like
Well,
these being $35, especially because all the other Lionsgate ones are like 24. So it's
yeah,
weird that all of a sudden they're like hiking up all these things because that's not the only one. Because I picked up a few other
and
things that they had,
no red,
um,
um,
but I
red,
got
but
all
that was.
these. They had
Oh, you picked them
all,
up?
yeah, because I don't
Okay.
have these.
Okay.
Like, I have almost every Mondo. I'm only missing like 5 or 6, but I
Oh
never had
wow.
the Marvel ones. I'm not a big Marvel fan anyway,
Okay.
but I was like, okay, I'll pick these up because I didn't have them. Because they got all the Zavi stuff now, so it's like all these things that are coming out. It's like, I'm like, cool. I didn't. Now I own 3 Black Panthers on 4K somehow because I have the original Steelbook.
Did you pick the
I
new
have the
steel book?
original one, the silver
Okay.
one that just
Yeah.
has him on it. Then I have
Yeah.
the reprinted one
Yeah.
when the other one came out, and now I have
Hmm.
this one.
Okay. Okay.
Like, and the movie's
There you
fine.
go.
I don't even know. Sometimes I have multiple copies of movies I don't even like that much. Like, I think I have like 6. Well, this is a movie I love, but like I have like 6 copies of like Beverly Hills Cop because like I literally have like bought every version of
Did you
that
pick up
movie
that
that exists.
triple?
Yeah, I
That
bought the
triple
third one.
pack?
It's
Okay.
garbage. Like, oh, I no, I have them separately, but the
Oh, okay.
third one is bad, but I
Gotcha.
still love
Gotcha.
it.
Gotcha.
What else did I get? I also got this,
Yeah,
um,
I have it as
because it's
well.
on sale. So I got the steelbook
You
one.
mentioned that you got it from Diabolic, right?
Yeah, I got it from Diabolic.
Yeah,
Um,
Diabolic. It was pretty cheap. It was like 20 something
I think I
bucks.
paid 24 for this.
Yeah, yeah. So did I.
So yeah,
That's a great release.
I know. I'm like,
Love it.
why is this not sold out? What is wrong with kids today?
Yeah.
The men of the world today. This was like, I couldn't wait for Wild Things to come off. Taking them Dev Campbell,
Mm-hmm.
it all comes back together. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's a circle. Okay, see,
Yes.
this podcast is very well planned out. Okay, so you thought the Scream 6 talk was just out of nowhere? Makes sense.
Yeah. uh,
Makes sense.
what else did you pick up? Uh,
That's pretty much it. I think
oh,
like
okay.
new wise, I haven't gotten anything. I've got a bunch of stuff coming. I think more
Okay.
than I have like. I did get. I mean, I got the Vinegar Syndrome from stuff from last month.
Hmm.
See, I think I'm ahead of everybody. So like, because I'm
Yeah, they
getting that
released
stuff
it
like,
a month
yeah, I get
beforehand,
it a month
right?
prior.
Yeah.
So like, I do have a bunch of stuff coming from them though, because I
Hmm.
ordered a bunch of like stuff that's going out of print. Um, doesn't have slips, but I got that. The only thing I picked up, I think recently was I talked about on the last podcast was Master of the World, which is a bad movie. I am excited because they are releasing a couple things next month.
Hmm.
So their new Witch Story is pretty great. Touch is really cool from the Cinematograph line. And then they're releasing a very weird movie, which is Kinski's. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he's a like
Mm.
wild director. I don't know that I recommend people buy the movie because it's a weird movie.
Yeah.
But in the very first episode, we were talking about Paganini from Severin, Paganini
Hmm.
Horror, which is a weird horror movie. And this movie is Kinski's like Paganini documentary. It's like this movie he made on his life, but it's the weirdest fucking movie. It's basically just a bunch of like orgy and sex scenes, and it's wild. It's really long. It's a weird fucking movie. So of
Mm.
course I bought it. Um,
Yeah.
but I think like Vinegar Syndrome is like the only company that I like just can blind buy or just buy stuff. I'm just like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll buy that.
You
It's
mentioned that.
fine.
Yeah.
Like, like, um, but then again, it's like it leads to me not buying other stuff, which I think is also the problem. It's like you kind of gotta pick and choose.
Pick
I'm
and
like,
choose.
okay, every
Yeah.
month I'm getting like 8 Vinegar Syndrome titles, so it doesn't leave a lot of room to like get any older stuff. So I've tried to like
Hmm.
balance it out because I'm like, I knew I wanted to get Wild Things, and so I came across a few other things, but
Okay.
I don't know. What else did
Yeah.
you get?
Yeah, I'll briefly talk about it. So, just saw Cutthroat Island, which was
Mhm.
meh. But
Oh, yeah, it's not a great movie. How's the
to
4K? Did you watch it? I
to
haven't
die
watched it
for.
yet.
Uh, Cutthroat Island?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Decent.
Okay.
4K transfer. But oh my gosh. Yeah, Gina Davis.
King Davis is
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
Great.
So anyway, I picked up To Die For. Um, Nicole Kidman changed my life when I was younger. She was, oh gosh, she's so amazing.
Another weird hot take. I hate the Criterion Collection.
There's some good movies,
Oh, they're
but
fine movies. I hate
yeah,
the
I don't
cases.
collect
I
all of
hate
them.
the cases, and I will never buy any. I own the others. That is the only Criterion movie I own
What? Really? The
because it's
only one?
amazing. It's the only one I
The
own.
others is really good, and I don't think that's an HDR, and it's still a really good
No,
4K
yeah, yeah. They
transfer.
didn't do HDR because
Yeah,
it's so black.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good one. But anyway, yeah, I picked a Major League. Not a big baseball fan,
Mm.
but I really do like this movie.
It's a
It's
decent
pretty,
I need to
yeah.
get that, but
And then really quick, I had to get because I missed out on it. Witness on 4K. Arrow. I just
I weirdly watched that movie, I think in, like, December, not
uh
knowing that that was happening, and I was like, "Oh, man, I shoulda waited because that's a
yeah.
movie that, like, it's fine, and it's pretty good, but it's not one that you're like, "Oh god, I gotta watch this because I just watched, like, 2 months before it came out, and I'm like, "I really don't need to watch." Same with, annoyingly enough, Primal Fear. I just watched that one randomly,
I
and
couldn't
then
find
it
it. I would
came
have
out.
brought it out here. I love Primal Fear is one of my favorite movies, man. Oh my
It's so good.
goodness.
Like, but it's like
Edward
it's one of those
Norton,
things I'm like,
just
"Great, now
amazing.
I'm annoyed because 'cause I'm like, I just watched this." Like,
Yeah.
I think it was around the same time, I think it was last year, or the year before, whatever, when Wrath of Man came out with Jason Statham, and I
Mm-hmm.
watched that because I was, like, waiting for it to come out, and I had never seen it, and so I
Because that's
watched it,
on
and
screen.
then
No, Shout Factory.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
right?
yeah, it came out from them, yeah.
Okay, yeah,
And then, like, literally, like, a month later, they were like, "Hey, there's a 4K coming out," and I'm like, "Son of a
yeah.
bitch, I just watched this." Like,
Well, these I don't know if you have seen yet, good, because I post some of the stuff on Twitter, uh, or or whatnot. But yeah, Tale of Two Sisters, Umbrella.
nice, nice.
Yeah, and then I saw The Devil.
It's cool. I don't have any Umbrella stuff.
Yeah, I really like Umbrella, and which is again pretty crazy because I showed it earlier, but I won their uh, getaway giveaway, their first number one of their Trust the Fungus
Yeah.
limited edition, which I never win anything, but I love Umbrella Entertainment. I have Talk to Me in Possession and limited editions, and they just put out amazing limited editions, and I just kind of compare it to Arrow and Second Sight. It just
Another
yeah, I
hot
don't
take,
think.
talk to me, not that good. Let's move on.
Oh, I like Talk to Me. Damn it, Chris.
I don't like A24. It's in my nature.
Oh,
It's better than, like, what they have had before. Like, as a horror movie, I was like, "Okay, this is actually a horror movie."
uh,
It's like, I don't know.
I like. I think for me, I like most of their horror films from A24. And then I just picked up, yeah, Possessor, Green Room.
Green Room is so good.
Yeah, very good. I did a review on it, and I when I first saw it, I originally didn't like it, and so
I think it is one of
had to
those you
rewatch
kinda
it.
gotta rewatch because I watched it the first time and I was kinda like, "Ah, I don't know how I feel about this," and then I watched it, like, a year later because this is, like, when it came out,
Yeah,
and I rewatched it and I was like, "No, I actually really do like this."
Patrick
Like,
Stewart is fucking
so great in
amazing
it.
in that. Oh
He's
my
so good in it.
god.
Anton
He-
Yelchin is great also, like,
yeah.
so there's a lot of cool, stuff in that movie. But yeah, it's very
Hmm.
weird because I mean, it's like I think there's a lot going on in that movie, so it can be sometimes hard to like follow. Like just
Hmm.
watching it, you're like, "What is going on now?" And there can be stuff that you miss, like even dialogue that you miss. So sometimes you're like, I get like the concept of this movie, what they're going for, but
Hmm.
missing some things of dialogue because stuff is so frantic. Rewatching it, I think helps. Like and being like, okay, now I know what happens in this movie, so let me rewatch it and like contextualize like actually what's going on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, Sometimes then movies need that, you know? Like, Um, so is that everything that you picked up, sir?
That I could find.
Okay.
At least, yeah.
This has weirdly been like a lighter month for me. I think because I have like just been doing other stuff, like just buying other stuff, random stuff, and I've been like we talked about off this stream, but I've been playing Final Fantasy Rebirth, so my time has been like playing that. I finished that like 100% of that. So I'm like I've just been working on other stuff, and so it's like my brain has not been like physical media focused. So it's like, oh man, I haven't even like I obviously have stuff pre-ordered, so I think I have more in like this month than I did from last month. Like or I have more stuff later this month, I think, because I've got like basket case coming at the
Yeah,
end of this
I got
month.
that.
I've got some stuff at the end of April, but
Dude, and it's so
I think
crazy.
May's actually bigger
Oh,
for me, like as far as like what I'm getting that I
really?
have
Oh,
like
dude.
because I've got what else? I have Kilograms from Outer Space coming out. We have The
Mhm,
Crow, which I already
mhm.
know they have that. I've got like
I
I think I have like
I got
8 or 9 things already pre-ordered, plus all my Vinegar Syndrome stuff.
yeah.
And they did their halfway to Black Friday, so I have that stuff. Plus all that stuff will come out.
Oh, man.
So there's like the 2 secret titles. So that month there's like probably like 12 titles, including their other ones. So that's a big month.
Mhm, mhm.
So yeah, I've got a ton of, and I've ordered a bunch of stuff that's more like older that I'm just waiting to ship. So I think this month was a lot of that. Like I picked up a lot of out of print stuff or stuff that's going out of print from Vinegar Syndrome. So I think I ordered
Mhm.
like 12 titles that I didn't have that are
Oh,
like
wow.
selling out. So like
Yeah.
I spent more like on backlog stuff, I think, than I did on like new stuff. Cause there was nothing that came out that I was like, oh, I have to have this like today, like
Mhm.
new wise, like, and even studio wise, like I didn't get Major League. So normally I pick up some of that stuff, but I didn't get any like studio stuff this month. I don't think.
Okay. Yeah,
Like,
I'm getting a bunch for April or the end of April, and then
okay.
I mean, yeah, yeah, because prior to this video, I was watching movies for like Dolby Atmos movies
Mhm.
for my video that I just posted, and just because that's a lot. At least my channel is a lot of like that type of stuff. Like I did a video for like IMAX movies and the 4K format, and then I really try to get horror movies. Discussion, like one of my favorite videos that I personally did, uh, that I loved is the springtime horror films, because it's April, man, and
Yeah.
so I put that right before spring break, but just how much, because I hated it, actually. I did not like it for some reason, but when I did some research and
Mhm.
rewatched these movies for the video, I love Piranha 3D, man.
That was great. It's great.
Oh my god.
I thought you were gonna say Midsommar, and I was gonna just like stop recording the
I
stream.
like that movie. I don't love it, but
I
yeah,
hate him
Piranha
as a
3.
director.
Oh,
I don't like
Ari,
Hereditary. I don't like yeah.
I
Fucking
love
sucks, dude.
Hereditary. I love Hereditary. I I
He
I
just
love
does
it.
things that he's like, "Hey," he spells it out like, "Hey, I'm gonna do this thing, and you're gonna be shocked when I do it." And I'm like, "But I'm not." Yeah, the little girl died, and I knew that from the beginning of that movie. Like, okay, her head got like, it's so unrealistic though that it's like, it's not that shocking because it almost takes you out of the movie,
I love
and they
the
fed into her, like,
imagery.
being
I
kind of,
love,
like,
oh,
disformed and, like,
dude.
so I'm like, "Okay, you're doing all this stuff like she's going to be, like, the main focus of this movie," and then you're like, "No, it's not." And it's like every time it just shifts, the goalpost changes of what that movie's about. So by the time you get to the end, you're like, yeah, but I don't even care anymore. Like this is not that shocking. Like, and they never really explain the stuff. It's just kind of like breadcrumbing you through, and then you're like, okay, now I got to really think about this whole movie. And then when I think about it, none of it really makes sense because all you did was have all these red herrings about what's actually going on. And so on first watch, it's great because you can watch it and you're like, cool, and you don't think about it. But then when you start thinking about that movie and then you rewatch the movie, knowing what's going to happen, it just kind of ruins it because you're like, okay, well, she's gonna die. The mom really has nothing to do with this stuff. The dad really has nothing to do. Like,
I I loved it, man. I don't care. It's so
yeah,
damn good. I love Toni Collette's acting. She should have been nominated for an Oscar.
yeah.
Her acting was so damn good.
Oh man. Anyway, I won't trash talk those movies anymore. Like Saint Maud is great though. That is one that I do love.
Which is an
Like,
A24 film.
which is an A24 movie,
Yeah.
surprisingly. She has that new movie out with, was it Love Lies Bleeding? It's the same director with
Oh,
Kristen
really?
Stewart.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
okay.
her. So I
Hmm.
haven't seen it yet. I've heard it's good though. Yeah, I really like Saint Maud. It kind of, when I was watching those movies, I kind of was watching them and I was like, okay, what do I expect? And I mistakenly was like, okay, let's start out with the bangers. Like, let's go. So I started out with Hereditary because I had never seen Hereditary until
Hmm.
like a year ago, because it's really not my thing. I really don't like that elevated horror shit. I just, I like bad movies. So when I watched it, I was like, okay, it's fine. And then I moved on to Midsommar, and then I watched The Lighthouse, which I liked Lighthouse for the most part. And then I watched Saint Maud, and then I went on to The Green Knight, which I loved. That's a great movie.
Green Knight is very good.
That's a great movie, which is not really a horror per se, but that's a great movie. So like I like some of their stuff, but it's like their horror stuff is like hit or miss for me because I'm just like, it always comes across like it's trying too hard or like trying to be different for different sake instead of just like making a good horror movie. And so like it's like too complicated, and I like my horror just simple. I like it.
I
That's why I love slashers, because they're simple. It's like it's my favorite. Speaking of one of the questions you got, that's my favorite subgenre of horror,
really
slashers.
okay. All
Just
right.
love slashers.
I
It's simple. That's why Halloween is my favorite, because it's just like it's just Michael Myers. He just kills people. It's very simple. When they complicate that premise is when it gets dumb. Like
Oh,
when you get into like 6 and it's like all this 5 and 6 when it's all this other dumb shit. You're like, no, it's just Michael Myers killing people.
yeah,
Like, why
yeah,
do we
yeah.
need to? Jason just kills people. You don't need to. Doesn't need to be any backstory to it. You just kill people. So like with all these other horror movies, they're like, well, it's this, but it's actually this, and it's this, and this. You're like, no, that's too much. We've gone off the rails now. There's too much going on. Like
See, I like
creature
some of that
features,
stuff, man. I like
creature
some of that stuff.
killing people. You're good.
I love creature features. I mentioned that I do think found footage is my favorite genre.
Okay.
I just love, I don't know, man. I think I mentioned in one of my earlier videos that when I was a kid I saw The Entity,
Okay.
um, and that whole, you know, the entity, right? That poltergeist type scary stuff, and that scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. Then of course, growing up in the 80s, it was the entity, poltergeist, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, and then that type of horror movies really affected me. And then a lot of the found footage films, at least, are kind of like that in some of the ways. And so,
Well, I think we also
like,
grew up
oh
in an interesting time where like the Blair Witch was coming out. That stuff didn't really, I mean, it existed to an extent, but not in the same route. So it's like, but the more recent found footage is like, it's a surge of found footage that got bad. There was stuff before that was great. And there is still stuff like buried in there. Like Gonjiam Haunted Asylum is a great movie. Um, so that's another one that's great. I think the original Paranormal Activity is fine. Like, it's
yeah.
more rewatch that makes that movie not as great.
What
But
which one did you like?
Gonjiam Haunted Asylum,
I picked that up, man. I watched it, and
it's a
then
great movie.
I bought it the next day.
Yeah,
It's
it's an
so
amazing
dang.
movie.
I The second half is just bonkers.
Yeah.
It's so dang good, man.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness, that was, I think, one of my favorites that I
Yeah, it's great. And so like
just
that's
saw.
like
Oh
the
my
problem
goodness.
is the bar is so high for that stuff. Like when you're watching that, like what's the other one? I also like mockumentary horror. I
Hmm.
really like that stuff. So like Butterfly Kisses is great. Um I just like found footage stuff that's not real. Like that's more like, hey, like we're just gonna make these fictional stories. And like what's the other one? I'm trying to
I
think of.
talked to John about it. The Poughkeepsie tapes.
The Poughkeepsie
Dude,
Tapes is great. Yeah,
oh,
another one that's amazing. God, what's the other one? Where's it at? Ghost Watch is great. Another
I haven't seen
mockumentary.
that one. I know, but
Oh,
the
so good, so good.
UK one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. The Last Broadcast is really good. I don't know if you've ever seen that. Um, let me show that to
Mm-mm.
you. Give me one second. I'll show
I I love Hereditary, guys. Hereditary is so damn good.
you. So yeah, if you guys are looking for like found footage, like mockumentary stuff, I have both like the editions of these. So, there's the last broadcast. So
Oh, whoa.
this is pre Blair Witch by a couple years. So I know
Really?
most people like think Blair Witch is it, but that's just like the most mainstream.
Mhm.
But this is 101 Films. They do great stuff.
Mhm. Mhm.
But it's very similar task, so it's like a four-man team goes out from the cable access product Fact or Fiction. So it's basically this program. They go out. They're looking for the Jersey Devil. If you love found footage and you like the Blair Witch style, the
Mhm.
last broadcast is amazing. You should get this edition. Frank, you
What the
should buy
hell?
this. Okay, you should buy this. Then you should also buy this one because this is Ghost Watch.
Mhm.
So big giant edition of Ghost Watch. But these are awesome editions of these. It's got like lobby cards in it.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Giant books, like um, it's got all kinds of stuff with it. So great. Um, so yeah, you need to watch these and then we need to talk about them because the last broadcast I think you'll
Yeah, I'm
really
intrigued on
like.
that one.
So it's 98, so I think it's the year before.
That's the year before, yeah.
hmm
Y
Blair
Yeah,
Witch.
'cause
So
I was in high school,
mhm.
uh,
but
junior in high
yeah,
school.
it's cool too because they actually do they've got, especially with this edition, they've got new interviews with the directors, kind of putting
Hmm.
stuff in context for that. But yeah,
Mhm.
I don't know if these are out of print anymore. Like I don't know if you'd have to go to eBay, you might have to go to eBay to get those. I don't know.
Yeah, you said 101?
Yeah, 101 Films did those.
Okay.
Um two great releases. So definitely I like found footage, so but I really like those. Last broadcast is great. So look at that. I gave you some movies to watch, Frank. That I didn't shit on the things you love.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you new things to love. I'm gonna
Okay.
recontextualize your love into good movies.
Speaking of that, yeah, you mentioned it to me for one of our future videos, but The Lift, man.
Yep,
I actually did like that movie.
it's great.
Yeah,
What do you think of the remake?
I did not really care for it.
Isn't it weird? It's
Yeah,
strange. It's the same guy. It's like it's funny when you have like Hideo
Naomi Watts?
Nakata. Yeah, she's great, but
Yeah.
like, Hideo Nakata who made like the original Ring
Oh
and
yeah,
Dark
yeah.
Water, and then he made the Ring 2 and you're like, what the fuck happened?
Well,
Like
he made both The
both those.
Ring too, and
Yeah.
they're both not that great.
And it's weird. Yeah, it's just weird.
Yeah.
Like, and I think more that is, I think it's like that culturally, that style of movie, and then
Mhm,
trying to make it in an Americanized thing just didn't work. Like they're having to like undo their sensibilities to make these American movies. So it's
mhm,
interesting for him to take The Lift and then make the same movie but make it Americanized. And you're like, yeah, this is why it's bad. So when people ask like why are remakes bad
mhm,
sometimes from like foreign films to that is why. Even when you have the same person who wrote and directed a movie, even if you bring them over here,
mhm.
it's going to be different because sometimes movies culturally are just better because either one, you don't
100%.
understand the culture, so
Mhm,
you don't understand. Sometimes, like even with Dark Water, like understanding like Japanese culture makes that movie even like worse because they're not going to believe you most of the time, even though they're very like superstitious. Like, so
yeah.
it's kind of like a hush hush thing, and they kind of believe you, but then it's like the way that divorce is handled over there, the way that women are treated, it can be very different. So like she really is on her own. That's why Dark Water is so interesting because it's
Mhm,
more like it's not even about the ghost at some point. That movie is far more than that, which is what makes it interesting.
mhm,
So yeah,
mhm.
how he has like these deep movies that are like very symbolic, and then he made The Ring too, and you're like, yeah, like that's terrible. Also, Gore Verbinski should just make more horror movies. Like it, it's like just give him Bioshock. He was gonna do that forever, and he never did. So
The
just give
video game?
him, yeah,
BioShock?
he was gonna make that movie.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah,
That'd be
for a
actually
long time, Gore
pretty
Verbinski was
damn tight.
attached to that. Yeah, that
Whoa.
was God 20, 15 years ago, but
Yeah.
So, I think that's pretty much everything we got there. I want to talk about some new stuff that's going to be coming out that just got announced. Just kind of get your thought. We'll run through them. Just kind of get your thoughts. Like, is it
Okay.
something you're going to pick up, not pick up, stuff like that. So we'll run through like the Vinegar Syndrome stuff, which I'm obviously going to get.
Yeah.
Um,
Not me, man.
so we've got Witch Story, which is coming out. We've got Lady Reporter, which is combination. They always do like their Vinegar VSA titles are always either Hong Kong based movies or Chinese-based horror, not horror, but just action movies. So those are
Hmm.
always interesting. Then we have The House Where Death Lives. Then we've got that Kinski's Paganini one, and then our cinematograph one is Touch, which is a very interesting thing. So those are for May. So those are the May ones. Sorry, those are the April ones. Because they actually did the May ones first, which is weird because they do their halfway to Black Friday ones. So even if you go on
Oh,
there,
gotcha.
you're gonna see
Hmm.
the May titles as well, which is weird. So they always do them before, so it's very strange. But the only thing I'm happy about for the May titles is the Homegrown Horrors Volume 3 has Haunted Ween in it, which is a terrible horror movie, but it's a fun bad movie. So moving on from there, the new let's see, Scream Factory stuff that got announced. We got Species 2. Then we've got the remake of RoboCop coming to 4K, and then we have RoboCop
RoboCop
2
2. I'm
coming
getting
to
all of them.
4K.
I'm a Scream collector fan, so I have all of this releases, so
Yeah,
I will be getting those three.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I'm excited for Second Sight's Borderlands. It
yeah.
got delayed,
Borderlands is a great movie.
and then it's supposed to come out in a couple of weeks, if I
Yeah, I saw
remember
it got
right.
delayed. It's great.
Yeah.
Um, Speaking of Second Sight, I guess we can go ahead and talk about it. We are going to be doing a Second Sight video. If you haven't checked out, I'll link my original one for this concept, but it was called Should You Collect? I did Vinegar Syndrome, of course,
Hmm.
makes sense. Basically, we just go through and Frank will kind of be off, but the way it'll work is we'll probably flip flop the videos from our channels. So even if it's just us, if we bring on somebody else, hopefully for the most part, it'll just be us involved with it. And then we'll talk about all the boutiques, which ones we like, kind of
Hmm.
show off the different editions of that, give a little bit of history. So I'll link that video down below so you can check that out, see if it's something you like. But then we'll be doing, not sure when it'll be out, but we'll definitely keep you guys updated.
Yeah, man.
We'll pin a comment here once it is available. But we're gonna talk about Second Sight. So that'll be over on Frank's channel. So we'll link that and we'll let you guys know when that's gonna be coming. So
I was
hopefully soon we'll get into that.
I was gonna say you're freaking sponsored by Vinegar Syndrome.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, yeah. For
Look
me,
at that.
I
I
got
got my hoodie on right now. Look at that.
I know. Yeah, I got 22 limited edition Second Sight movies.
I have
Um,
one. I have one.
yeah.
I have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's it.
Oh,
Oh,
there's
two.
so many
I have
good
Ginger
movies.
Snaps. Forgot about Ginger Snaps.
The trilogy one. Yeah.
Mhm.
I really like, not to go off too offset topic, but yeah, Turbine. Turbine's a really good one too. I
Turbine's
know.
good too. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. I think for
yeah.
me, it's like when we just talk about collecting and stuff, I think that's the stuff that's adjusted over the years. I think my weird OCD brain, it's hard for me to process like collecting so many different types. It throws off how I collect. So it's like it's a weird
Mm,
thing. Like in some
mm,
of the movies too, like if I'm in love with the movie, I'm gonna buy it regardless
mm.
of like who makes it or what. So that doesn't I know I said I hate the Criterion Collection, but like just aesthetically, like there's also not a lot of movies with the type of movies that I love. It's just not up my alley. So I mean, I know I'm a different collector than a lot of people
Weird ass
because
movies. Yep, yep,
I
yep.
like weird movies and mainly because like even for like a movie like Primal Fear, like I'm gonna be able to watch that movie. It's not like it's ever gonna go away. It might event obviously 50 years from now, you might be hard to find, but like those movies are more just like if they have been out of print or they don't have like a Blu-ray or a 4K and it's something that's going to be coming out that I really
Hmm.
love in that vein as far as like a more like mainstream type, then I'm probably going to get it. Um, and if the studio titles are cheap enough, like I think I picked up like The Firm, and so I'll pick up those Paramount titles that are like $15, $16 down the line. Then I'm like, okay, so I like building a catalog. But if you've seen like my full collection video and it's even adjusted now, like 90% of my movies are very weird. Like I don't know that I have a lot of mainstream movies, you know. I have a lot more action stuff, I think, than anything, but drama's kind of hard for me. I don't really buy that stuff. I just think it's always been a thing where it's like if I'm only going to watch the movie once, like if it's a movie like that where it's like, okay, I got it. Am I ever going to watch it again? I've
Hmm.
gotten better at not buying it and being like, okay, so I've like really, especially with the prices of boutique stuff, it's like, okay, I better really love this movie. That's why like
Yeah.
I have centered on like one or two boutiques that I'm like, okay, I'm happy with kind of buying whatever. And those are going to be obviously my largest collections of movies.
Hmm.
Um, Even though Screen Factory is probably the second largest I think I have. I wouldn't even say they were in my top 3 boutiques. I just think they get the rights to a lot of stuff, which kinda sucks. It's one
There
of those
there are
things, it's like
catalogs, yeah, they're catalog movie
which sucks. It's one of those things
there's
I'm like,
so many good movies.
would I want them to have Killer Clowns from Outer Space? No.
No.
I would rather have, like,
Arrow, Second Sight, dude, oh my
Arrow,
goodness.
Vinegar Syndrome. I think Vinegar Syndrome could do some weird shit with that movie. Like
They were rumored
Killer
to do
yeah,
that.
Killer Clowns having, like, a VSU, like, an Ultra title with one of those
That would've
big
been
magnetic cases
sick.
would have been incredible. Like,
Yeah.
or even, like, a big box set would have been amazing. They just do, like, wild stuff, and they do interesting stuff. So, I don't know, with that's why I got all those packaging ones because I wanted the steelbook. That was one thing I do say, like, when they do the big stuff, they do it well. It's
Mhm.
more the intermediate stuff that I think is more of a problem, that it's like, "Hey, this is a big title." When they choose to do slips and non-slips, it's annoying because you're just like, "Am I gonna get a slip? Am I not gonna get a slip?" And then,
Mhm.
like, some stuff where you're like, "Oh, it's pretty big." They're like, "No, we're not gonna do a slip for that." Like, War Games, I was really surprised when War Games came out that it didn't have a slip cover.
Yeah,
It was one of those things, like, some of those titles, you're just like, "It doesn't make sense to me."
uh,
Like
I don't like how they do their whole $60 for, like, a pen and
yeah, I'm not doing that. Like,
other
I only bought
accessory BS, man.
yeah, I
Oh,
only bought that big edition because I love that movie. So it was one of those things that like it's the rare case where I'm like, I wanted both of the posters because I will hang that big, aside just like with Creepshow. Like I got the big edition of Creepshow because I love
mhm,
Creepshow. So but it doesn't come with the other slipcover, which is very annoying. So because I got like the $135 version, I think, and then I
uh-huh.
bought the 40. So I basically got the $175 version, but that one was already sold out.
Oh,
So
that's
um
weird.
and that was also the time when they were like stuff was sold out for that, but then it really wasn't. So people were like panicking buying stuff. So it was like I bought the regular edition, but then the steelbook was like sold out, but it really wasn't sold out. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, well, I guess I'm gonna have to buy this version. So I ended up buying it and I'm like, whatever. So I ended up getting that. But I think like the Child's Play stuff was great. The Halloween stuff is probably the best stuff they've ever done, just with the packaging. Those hard
Hands
shell. I don't
down.
know why they don't do
So
that
good.
anymore. And they've done it before. It's frustrating. I don't know why they don't like Vinegar Syndrome does that some stuff. So I don't know why, like even the Elvira movie I have over there has a hard case. And I'm like, I don't know why they don't do more of those hard shell cases
Yeah, one of
for
my
stuff.
favorite pieces that I have, it's, I bought a little Michael Myers display.
Oh, the house. Yeah, that thing's
The
sweet.
house, yeah,
Mm.
so damn tight.
So it's weird because I just feel like Scream Factory doesn't give a shit. Like I'm sure there are people there that care, but as a company, it's more just like, yeah, just get the stuff out. Like we're doing this because we're a big company, we have money to throw around,
Mhm.
and so, but I just don't feel like the care is put into it unless it's like a big movie. And even then, like the debacle with the Atmos on Creepshow. It's not listed there, but it's there. There's so many movies that like even what Silver Bullet has the wrong audio printed on the back. There's just a level of like quality control there that is
Mhm.
very poor. Like I'm like, who is checking this stuff? It's like it's gotten to the point where they're like such a large company that you would think that they could, but I think like the process in which that stuff goes, whereas like Vinegar Syndrome is a much smaller company, and they really care about that. Like
Yeah.
that's the thing that sucks. Like Scream Factory's transfers are incredible, and I think they've even gotten better.
Mhm.
Like, so it's an annoying thing to be like, your trans, which is, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what I care about. Packaging, whatever. I want the movie to look good. So at least if they're getting that part right, then that's what I really want out of the movie. Because obviously we can bitch and complain about the packaging all day, but if the transfer sucks, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
cool packaging doesn't make up for a shitty transfer. It's like the Footloose one. Like I think the Footloose Steelbook is great. The transfer is kind of subpar.
Mhm, mhm.
Um, but it's kind of sucks when you get great packaging but a terrible transfer. So it's like I'm fine with them really focusing on that aspect, even if their packaging sucks. It's just their prices are very high for what you're getting, and they're kind of forcing you at some points to buy shit that you probably don't want.
Oh,
Like I
yeah.
don't need any more posters. I have a closet full and I'm never going to put them up. I just have a closet full of posters that I'm never going to hang because I don't have the space. But I have to. I'm getting them because also, why do I need two slip covers? There's a lot of stuff in there. Like
Yeah, I don't know the logic for what are you gonna do with the other one?
it's because they
Uh,
can charge you more, and they're cheap too. So it's another thing. It's like, okay, how much does that slip cover actually cost? So it's just
mhm.
cheap. Like so, it's like they can charge you $45 for a movie to get two crappy slip covers and a poster. So A lot of times, surprisingly, like I've even like sometimes I order directly from them, but sometimes I don't. I'm like, I don't even care anymore. Like, yeah, I'm gonna get it
Majority of
early.
times I don't.
Yeah, I'm just like, whatever. I'll get it on Amazon. It'll be a little cheaper. I don't
Yeah.
need the posters. I don't care. I'll pay $30 as opposed to $41. Like, unless I want it early, unless it's something that's like I really like what they're doing or it's
Mhm.
something cool. But even then, they gave away half of their steelbooks were Best Buy exclusive, not even exclusive to them.
Mhm.
So that was a whole other debacle because unless you could go in and buy them, you had to order them, and then them shipping them was a problem. So I
Yeah.
don't know. We're in a weird state with I'm kind of glad. I mean, I know people have had issues with Walmart online, but um physically going into those things, like my Walmart like has not only an in stand full of steel books, but a whole row of steel books. So
Ah.
like my Walmart is like jam packed with steel books, which is crazy. Like that's what I'm saying. I saw all those in there. All the new releases are put out on time. Like everything is there and it's clean, it's organized. Like I found it was a couple weeks ago, like, I found Titanic in there just randomly, which has been like gone forever.
Hmm.
Like in a store, like trying to buy Titanic, and it was just randomly on 4K. And I'm like, I didn't even know they were going to have that because normally they don't have, unless it's like a big title, they don't usually don't
Mhm.
have that. And sometimes they don't even get them.
Hmm.
So, like, it's nice for me. I don't get everything. Like, I didn't get any of the $5 steel books. My Walmart didn't have any of those, but they've been replenishing stuff because, like, the stuff that they had the other day when I got Cutthroat Island and stuff was like drastically different. Everything that was there was gone from
Hmm.
the time before. It all sold because
Wow.
I think
That's
people were
good.
going and like it was all new stuff. So it
Well,
was
that's a good thing.
yeah, it was like so it seems like they're replenishing a lot because like the American Psycho one was had been there. It's like all those older ones like Hacksaw
Mhm.
Ridge, those like that first wave, those had
Mhm.
all sold out. And then it was all these new ones, like all
Hmm.
these Mondo ones, all this stuff. So they're
Yeah.
picking up stuff from everybody. They're like, sure, we'll get into the game. We'll make
Yeah.
money. Like I think
Yeah.
they just see an opening. Somebody at the corporate Walmart was like, okay, cool.
Well,
We can
it's
do
very
this because Best Buy is like not doing this, which doesn't make sense because they're like people being like, oh, we didn't sell a lot of these. And then Walmart gets them and literally like people are just like buying this shit like hand over fist. And you're like, did Best Buy really not sell this stuff? Or they were just bad at like selling them? Like, or did they want more than what they were getting?
I think
I
that's
think
what it was.
they wanted more floor space, and I think
Yeah.
maybe it wasn't bringing the return that they maybe wanted. Walmart's like, fuck it, we're huge. It doesn't matter. People are buying groceries from us. So cool. We have the money to like get people to come in here to buy these steel books because then we got them in Walmart. Like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's like if you're going into Best Buy to buy a movie, you're buying that. Typically, you're not like venturing off and being like, oh, I'm going to go buy a fridge now.
Yeah.
Like, I think the disparity in like price ranges in there, like of what you're buying. So I think it makes sense for them to not have them because you're like, that's the only reason I went in there. Like, funny enough, I went in there yesterday because me and my wife were out just shopping for stuff. And she was like, you want to go in there? And then sure enough, I ended up buying something, but it had nothing to do with why we went in there. We ended up buying a ROG Ally, like so, like the little handheld PC thing. Because like I've got a Steam Deck, I've got a Portal, I've got all these like handheld PC things, but like
Mhm.
my wife has really been wanting to play like the new Stardew update, and so I was like, here, we'll get this. So we found an open box one, excellent for like $540, and I'm like, cool, like
Hmm.
so I ended up buying that, but nothing, movie related. So, but I
Gotcha.
do miss the fact, like the aspect of being able to go in and like pick out my steel books. I think that was the thing that I
Mhm.
was hesitant because I did that last October. I ordered all of the steel books like from Best Buy because I moved. So I actually moved a little farther away. So Best Buy was like 40 minutes from me, whereas I used to be like 10 minutes from Best Buy. So it was a little easier
Mhm.
for me to get there day of release. But it was like if I was there 3 days after release, those were gone, like where I'm at.
Yeah.
Because we only have two Best Buys and they're like 40 minutes apart. So like everybody, and I'm central to
Oh.
like Greenville to a bigger city. So it's like that's where the Best Buy is. Those are gone. So for me, I had to order like Pumpkinhead and Megan and all of those around this time and like the Halloween trilogy and all that stuff. So I got those. Luckily, I didn't have any problems with mine, but like, um, I know I hate ordering steel books. It's like it's like Russian roulette. It's just like you never know. It's depending on the company, but like ordering through Walmart and like Amazon, it is like a crapshoot if you're gonna
Yeah.
get anything like not damaged. So it sucks.
So I gotta actually go.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a lot of technical issues in the very beginning, but
So yeah.
So many. So we this would have been much longer, but we had a lot of technical issues with what happened. So we did have some questions. I think we've touched on a few of those. But we'll get into some of those maybe the next time. But
Yeah,
yeah, so
next
we're
time.
gonna be doing some other stuff. So like I said, thank you, Frank, for coming on here. We're gonna do more the next time, not having all this crazy technical stuff.
Dude,
But
yeah, it was terrible, man.
it's terrible. We
Streamlabs,
waited like an
man. What
hour
the
of
heck,
like
man?
all this,
Yeah,
but we're better prepared for the next time. So
the next time.
thanks Frank for coming on the show. I'll link all Frank's stuff down below. So definitely go check out Frank's channel, like and subscribe to his stuff. And we're gonna do stuff in the future. So again, thanks Frank for coming on the show. And I think we'll talk to you guys next time. All
Yeah,
right. Have a good
bye.
weekend, guys.